It's tier list time. We are going to be doing a top 10 tier list for the new characters of the Part 3 7th anniversary. You know who they are. Ultra Super Saiyan Goku and Ultra Final Form Frieza full power. They are very dangerous, and with the curiosity of where they'd place, I'm going to give you where I'd rank them. Assume everybody at an average star level, so Ultra's at 10, Legends Limited's at 9, you can put Sparkings at above, so 14. And it's a meta tier list, so it includes factors such as teams, their element, and the compositions you can put them on to add value to those teams. So not just their individual value or 1v1 natures. Let's get into this. So we've got the tier list here, and we're going to be starting as usual with the fan service and honorable mentions. The guys in the fan service, they're unfortunately not going to make the tier list, but they're there because people like them, as I did make this tier list on my stream. But going further into the honorable mentions, you can see it clearly says no order, so they're not in order. But most of these guys here are not main options when it comes to PvP. Now, not to say that none of these guys can do serious work in PvP, but most of the time it'll be in niche scenarios, or it'll be at a second rate in comparison to somebody else. So if I give you some blatant examples right now, Ultra Margin Vegeta, you wouldn't need him if you have Super Saiyan Goku, and if you had both of them, there's really no reason to use him. Plus, he's going to be a liability against some of the reds that exist in the meta. The same thing with Ultra Hit over here. Any damage you can do with him, you could probably just do better with the likes of Kaioken Goku from Part 2. So there's no real reason to have him. Plus, Universe Rep has kind of decreased in value right now, shown by the honorable mention list itself, and you can pretty much just apply all of these guys in that type of box. Evo especially, he's more of a build-up guy, so by the time you get him to his max potential, you could have just done way more work with other units. His only saving grace is that he's purple, but even then, you could say he's a liability because there's good yellows right now. And then with Daima Goku, obviously he's blue, so he's going to be type disadvantaged to Frieza. But really, he's still pretty good alongside the Daima team, but they've really just phased out. So it's some power creep here and there. And it's also the idea that he's unpopular, so you're not being able to use him right now because of that. In comparison to other teams you'll see, such as Saiyan Saga, we've got Frieza Saga now, and we've got Saiyan's very popular teams. So those are the honorable mentions. You could argue them against the 10 versus the 9 maybe, but beyond that I wouldn't have these guys involved. Now we've got here TN, and a lot of you at the surface are immediately going to be like, there's no way TN is making it over these guys. Well, he is, and I'm going to explain why. The reason he's at number 10 is not because he's necessarily better than anybody in the honorable mentions, but it's more so because he's a safer option than all of these guys in the honorable mentions. Now, what do I mean by that? Tien offers you a second life, and in this meta right now, where you're fighting the likes of Super Saiyan Goku, Ultra Final Form Frieza, you are going to get melted. There's a new level of power creep, but Tien being purple stands off very strong against the likes of Frieza, the most, if not the most, threatening unit in the game. And because of that, him being purple really is his saving grace. But not just that, he has a second life. So if you stack that on top of the KO guard with Super Saiyan Goku, you put this guy on the leader slot, or you're putting Super Saiyan Goku on Saiyan Saga and you're running TN, you will have that layer that Super Saiyan Goku doesn't just have to save immediately. There's a lot of characters who do not have any survivability, and because of that, their first life can literally just get swiped from them, and you have to save, or rather not save, you'd be using Super Saiyan Goku's KO guard earlier than you'd like, and that's really annoying. But with this pure second life, it's better than anything you can use on the battlefield, especially when there's already a more offensive, better units on the list, as you will see as we go on. So these honorable mention guys, even though they might do better damage, they're not giving you more security than Tien and Chaozu. Let me also point out that Chaozu can do damage. When you take out that first life, there's also an output of damage. So if you're putting that against any of the greens that you'll see in this tier list, you know Tien is going to be doing something on the battlefield offensively, and you don't have to prioritize him. So for example, Evo Jita, sorry to throw him under the bus, but when you're putting him on the battlefield, you're trying so hard to get to level 3, and you're getting to level 3 while doing no damage when you could have just been using somebody else. But you don't have to you think about Tien like that. You just have him as the secure life factor that's going to get taken away, but it's something to keep you protected at all times. So that's why he's at number 10. I think with that justification, it's irrefutable in a sense, as everybody below is also just a second-rate option to the people above. So why would you prioritize them over something safer? Tien, number 10 spot. Next up over here at number 9, we've got Feetku. Feetku is really just a safe option to be run with the Saiyan Saga contenders. You could also put him on Saiyans in general, and you can get some value out of him. With Saiyan Saga just being very valuable right now, he is a straight tank while also having Major disrupt in his kit. Major might be a bit of an exaggeration, but it's extremely good. You can get this guy in, take a bunch of hits, he's gonna disrupt, and then he'll basically stop that combo, and he'll heal a little bit, and now and then he can put out some damage, especially against the res that you have available. I've seen this guy tank rising rushes, and he shouldn't be doing that, especially for a sparking, but that plat really changed his life. Think of him as a better TN because he also does have the defensive aspect. I know he doesn't have a full layer of survivability, but he can offer you stuff offensively as well, so he's not someone to be slept on. I feel like only at the higher ranks will you really see a good Fiku though, not at the lower ranks, and that's just obvious because he's a sparking, so you have to build him with pure intent. And a lot of lower rank people just can't do that. But every time I see a Fiku, and I know a lot of you guys have had that experience as well, Fiku is literally going to be hard to break through, that disrupt is going to be annoying, and pretty much the only person that's going to take him out with ease is Frieza, or you're going to have to one-shot him with a rising rush. And really and truly, you're not always going to have that rising rush option. But if you do, it's good to take him out, but that's about it. Beyond that, you're going to be taking the long road, fighting an uphill battle with this unit that's tanky, can do some damage, not crazy damage, but it's also going to disrupt your combos most of the time. So that's why Fiku's over there at number 9. He's just a bit more versatile than Tien there. His element, you could say it's not the best, but you could also argue blue is a better element to deal with some reds, which we don't have a lot of right now, so Fiku gets a bit more stock because of that. We're now here at the 7 and 8 option, and we've got our first interchangeable, also our only interchangeable. I don't like putting in too many because it makes it look like we're indecisive over here. We've got God Goku and Full Power Frieza. Now Full Power Frieza over here, he got a new platinum equipment. He already has a Zenkai as an old platinum equipment, so he's going extra far, right? God Goku, he got a platinum equipment early this year, and he's still looking good. Both of these guys can fit on the top 2-3 teams available in the game, and they offer very good things. But I think God Goku, it's more at a second rate, but the thing that's saving him is the idea that there's no strong purples to damage him offensively. So he has a free run in terms of being green, just like other units in the meta who are also green. He can damage blues without having someone else threaten him. Whereas with Frieza over here, even though I think he can do more damage, is a bit more threatening because he nullifies endurance permanently. He also has some disrupt, and he tanks probably a bit better. He has to fear for reds in the meta, so that keeps them at a balance point. I feel like if there was purples threatening God Goku, he wouldn't even be in the conversation with this Full Power Frieza. But because there isn't any purples, God Goku is being safe to run on any Saiyan team that you want to run him on. You can potentially put him on the leader slot if you'd like to do so, or even Son Family, you know. Even though I wouldn't say Son Family is as good, you can still build around Son Family if you'd like. So because of that, he's just a safe option in the meta. Whereas Frieza, he's being paired perfectly with the Full Power Frieza Ultra and any other Frieza Saga unit that you want to put. Even powerful opponents can use him, and even if you're on neither of those, putting on the leader slot with the permanent ability to nullify endurance, it's just a safe way to go about playing Dragon Ball Legends. So for those reasons, I'm putting them equally at 7-8, but it's really that God Goku has a better scenario and Frieza's the better unit but has a worse scenario given the other things in the meta right now, and I think that makes a lot of sense. So if you had Frieza above, I'd be like fine. If you have God Goku above, I'd be like fine. If you're asking me who I'm personally taking, I've got Frieza, but God Goku is no slouch either. Now next up, we've got Ultra Perfect Cell, and the easiest way to explain his scenario is that he's Full Power Frieza with a better element and survivability, plus an ultimate that hits even harder. He's got the disrupt, the survivability, one of the hardest hitting ultimates in the game. He's going to nullify endurance permanently while being red, which is a safer element than yellow because there's not many blues to deal with the reds. There is blues existing, but the blues in totality are not as powerful as the reds in totality. So he's just safer, and because of that, he gets one slot up above from God Goku and Full Power Frieza. Powerful opponent, he could probably make the first team very easily, and because of that, pairing him with the blast type team with Ultra Final Form Frieza, it's so free. It's so free. Let's also point out that red pairs perfectly with green. Green is going to deal with the blues that come for red, so they're working in tandem together, which is amazing. Overall, just a very, very solid team. Cell, he's safe. Even though it's its only team, you can still leader slot him on other teams and get good results. So he's in a position where there's not too many people pressuring him, but there's a lot of people he can also pressure, such as the Ultra Super Saiyan Goku. So for sure, Cell is making a top 6 standard, but he's peaking at 6, so he's not going to get any higher than that, unfortunately. But 6 is still very good for the only other Ultra that's dropped this year until the anniversary. We got Saiyan Saga Vegeta. We're getting into the top 5. Now with Saiyan Saga Vegeta, again, it's just powerful opponents in Saiyan Saga. Those are his main 2 teams, and being green, he's very safe, so he has a very good scenario. I imagine if there was a good purple, he would shift far down very quickly, but because he's a strong wall, he can do damage here and there, but mainly being a strong wall on a team that is already defensively great, he's adding that pure second life. He's different, and because of that, he's making the top 5. Think of him as maybe God Goku with a pure second life, right, and can do more damage because he's more recent. That's pretty much how I see him. He doesn't have an ultimate, he can do blue card damage, which is actually good. He can catch you off guard. He has disrupt as well, pure second life. There's just everything going for him for the most part in the meta right now, so there's no reason to have him lower than that. But at the same time, I wouldn't have him higher than that because he doesn't actually offer you as much offensively as all the other guys above, whereas those guys will, and you'll really see that. So it's not really that he's bad, it's just the other guys are better, which is why he's peaking at a number 5. There's not much more to say about him, to be honest. I think he's pretty plain, but he just does his job so well, and he's on such a good team right now. Teams even. At number 4, we've got MUI Goku. MUI Goku being the main blue option in the game to deal with anybody above him. And unfortunately for him, Full Power Frieza being green, he's had to shift down a couple places, and that's hurt him a lot. But outside of that, he's still very good. Now, when we had the conversation on stream, the thing about him is he's not defensively good, and that's at the cost of giving him the dodge mechanic. If you can't get hit, you won't lose. But then that depends on the player. So the way we basically chopped it up in stream is to say, what's the safer way to play the game? What are your risks that you have to deal with? And with UI, nobody's a perfect player. If you make a mistake, that whole game goes to piss because he's not defensively strong. But if you play perfect, he could be a top tier in the game, nobody can get over him. But in realistic sense, with most players, they're not going to be perfect, so we're not going to over boost them because of that. But what I would say, in the hands of an amazing player, you put him in the hands of an amazing player and you put somebody else in the hands of an amazing player, his stall is so great, his individual value could be boosted above most people, if not everybody. But realistically speaking, that risk still exists. So if we're assessing it fairly, we can't take him over 4. He can't go 3, 2, or 1. He's going to stop at 4. Now, why would I put him over Vegeta? Again, his stall is still valuable. He has endurance, so it's somewhat of a second life. He doesn't cancel buffs, but he can increase the cost of the enemy, so they can't actually combo him for long. So unless you're really just destroying him off rip, I think offensively he's offering you more, especially with dealing with the reds that exist, Kaioken being one prime example, whereas Vegeta is only offering you mainly defensive traits. His offenses aren't bad, but MUI Goku's are much better, and that shouldn't be negotiable. I think that's a very obvious case. So I guess you could make it an interchangeable thing, but I don't think it is because of how powerful the two reds are, Cell and also Kaioken Goku in the current PvP meta. So we're leaving MUI Goku at 4, and now we're going to get to 3. So we're here at number 3, and the rest of the tier list should be very obvious. We've got Kaioken Goku. Now in stream, we was having a big conversation about Kaioken and MUI Goku and who should be above the other. Started with an interchangeable, but what we boiled it down to was risk, just like how I explained with MUI Goku. So between him and Vegeta, yes, it's a risk factor, but you need the offenses because of Kaioken. But between Kaioken and MUI Goku, in most cases, when dealing with MUI Goku, you're not going to play perfect. You can play perfect, but that's not a consistent outcome that you would get on the PvP battlefield, meaning that his defenses are going to be a major liability. Even though he's type advantage over Kaioken, that doesn't make him better, as Kaioken will be a lot more consistent unless you're able to one-shot him. And you wouldn't be able to one-shot him unless you get a lucky MUI blue card, maybe Last Stand or a Rising Rush. So in most scenarios, Kaioken is going to provide you better offenses. It's not by much, but it's better, and defenses that are better. While having the most consistent disrupt in the game, you can't really ask for more. MUI Goku's damage is good, don't get it twisted, but the defenses are a liability. He does have the endurance, but a lot of people can get through that nowadays, plus he doesn't even have buff cancellation. Kaioken, he's just going to tank a lot better, keep you at that high standing while dealing with yellows that exist. Going further, we're going to talk about Ultra Super Saiyan Goku and Ultra Full Power Frieza. MUI also being a victim to Full Power Frieza hurts him very badly, which is why I can't put him over Kaioken Goku while having being a defensive liability on the battlefield, outside of the fact that he can stall and dodge. So given he doesn't get hit, he'll be fine. But if he does, which in a lot of cases he will because of the risk percentage odds, you're not going to play perfect. It's long. So yeah, Kaioken solid 3, maybe one of the highest damage numbers in the game, if not the highest. I'm not gonna say the highest, but he be doing crazy stuff sometimes. Now, usually I would take the time to talk about the 1 and 2 separately, but I don't even think it's worth the point of doing so, because I'm just gonna say the same thing twice. If we look at Super Saiyan Goku, right, he offers you everything offensively, straight damage and firepower. He is the highest hitting unit in the game right now. I don't think it should be negotiable, especially if you damage some of his allies and he builds up that 100% blue card. Bro, when he comes back in for that blue card, it is going to nuke you. You should be very scared. But outside of that, the only thing keeping him in conversation is his KO guard and the fact that he can lock you in. But with Frieza, there's too much consistency throughout the whole battlefield. He doesn't hit as hard as Super Saiyan Goku, but it's good enough to the point where it doesn't make it that Goku is that much crazier. And then defensively, there's a large gap between him and Super Saiyan Goku. So even though the offense is Goku is above, it's not by that much. And then the defense is Frieza is actually putting up a decent gap against Super Saiyan Goku. Though Goku has the KO guard, Frieza doesn't slack either with survivability. He's coming with the endurance and buff cancellation. And then let's talk about the Death Beam. The Death Beam is a literal counter to everybody in the game. You'd think UI Goku will be able to stall, but that's not something he can float and dodge. And the fact that it can be comboed into means that UI Goku is going to get beamed and then he's going to get comboed into and destroyed. So you have to avoid it if it's coming your way. You have to vanish. You can't stand still. Did I mention that it also nullifies endurance? Wow. And because it's not an art card or a rising rush or an awakened arts, literally you can do nothing to survive that. Even Frieza himself, if he gets caught by a death beam, it's long. And let's say the death beam hits but it doesn't kill. Well, he can chain a card immediately after, and that card will probably nullify endurance as well. So Frieza in general, while being green the safest element in the game, it's really a no diff when it comes to the contest of number 1. Super Saiyan Goku, in niche scenarios and off feeling, for sure he can feel like he's much better than Frieza. But in general, I feel PvP is just whoever gets priority first wins. And that's what's going to make it most of the time. But if you want consistency, Frieza's going to give you that. And Goku won't give you that, even though he's still a gap above the rest of the game, at least in my opinion. So that pretty much chops up the conversation between 1 and 2. I also posted a whole video talking about who's better, and it pretty much just explains what I just explained right now. So yeah, if you want to save gameplay while having pretty much the same amount of offense, not by that much less, Frieza's your man. Whereas if you just want to have pure fun output, Goku's your guy, but you also have the safety of the KO guard. 1 and 2, not really a big debate there. We're ending the video pretty much. But yeah, man, that's going to be the end of the video. I usually do an evaluation, so after I would sit down and just off camera look at the tier list and see if there's anything I want to move last minute. But I didn't do that this time because we made the tier list on stream and we have full-blown conversations. I actually let people type out long paragraphs and explaining their point, letting you guys have a voice and actually considering it on a logical basis so that we can all get a tier list we can somewhat agree on, because at the end of the day, not everybody's gonna agree. But let me know what you guys think about this tier list. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. If you haven't already, make sure to press the subscribe button. We're on this grind to 200,000 subscribers. I appreciate you guys for watching, man. My name's Zakashi, guys, and I will see you guys in the next one, man.